The topic for this video project will be on the Greek Pantheon and a bit on its effect and usage in Greek culture. Pantheon, by definition, is all the gods of a people or religion collectively. Greek gods are some of the most well-known gods in mythology. The Greek Pantheon consists of 12 Olympians. These Olympians are Poseidon, Athena, Demeter, Aphrodite, Artemis, Apollo, Hephaestus, Hermes, Dionysus, Hera, and the most important and most known Greek god presiding over all was Zeus, god of the sky and god of thunder. There are additional Greek gods and goddesses besides the 12 mentioned as well. Greek mythology was used in order to explain the environment that they lived in. The Greeks created these in order to explain the natural occurrences happening around them, so that unknown occurrences like why storms occur and why the sun sets can have some reasoning given the stories. Zeus being responsible for the storms in the sky because of his emotion, and Apollo being responsible for the sun's rising and setting. Each have their own myths as to why they occur. The definition of myth is stories based on tradition, sometimes having factual origins and others fictional. Iliad and the Odyssey are a great example of a partly historical story with fictional elements interwoven into that story. It also shows how Greek storytellers use Greek mythology to reason the events of the past, even including wars. This is where the Iliad begins, 8 years after the Trojan War began. It is believed by researchers in the 18th century that the story of the Trojan War was a fable. This story includes the hero Achilles in the story. The Greek fable interwoven into the story is the explanation of his strength and resilience. In the story, Achilles is a demigod who was dipped into the river Styx, which would offer powers of invulnerability. But because he was dipped in by his foot, his heel was his only weak point. This paints a deeper story into the Achilles tendon. You can see the interwoven mythological elements added into this historical event. Another great well-known example of this is the Odyssey. The events unraveled in the Odyssey occurred just after the events told in the Iliad. It is a story revolving around Odysseus and his travels. He sailed back to Ithaca after the Trojan War ended. On his travels back, him and his men were stopped and captured by a Cyclops. The men managed to escape the Cyclops, injure him, and steal from him as well. The worst mistake made by Odysseus was his choice to shout out his name at the Cyclops while escaping. This decision makes Odysseus' trip back turn into a downward spiral of events unfolding because he had no knowledge of the father of that Cyclops. The father of the Cyclops just so happened to be Poseidon, god of the sea, and he wreaks havoc upon Odysseus and his men. It is also used as an explanation for the development of things in Greek culture. For example, the use of medicine. It is interesting to look at the creativity of the mythological stories that make up the Greek pantheon. There is a lot of symbolism bringing nature to life. Even the most simple events in nature to common human life has a story of how it began and how a Greek god symbolizes it. The stories are always extraordinary in nature. Overall, the Greek pantheon and its mythology is a great benchmark to look back on and see how views and beliefs have changed over the course of time and how it is widely known. Its influence still affects the beliefs of some today, and it has had quite an effect on Greek history and storytelling.